women and girls represent about 10% of participation in motorsports, but the statistics are changing as more and more women are stepping into engineering, aerodynamics and the race strategy roles now so more than ever before. Meet Simphiwe Mohlahlo, a rookie in motorsport and is finally getting into realizing her dream. She took part in the Extreme Festival at the Kyalami Grand Prix Circuit last weekend. And now joins us in studio this morning to chat a little bit more about her interests in high-speed racing and perhaps what else we can expect from her. Simphiwe, good morning.
Thank
you for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm so excited because you're literally representing women and girls, and I mean, to aspire to something, you have to be able to see it.
Yes.
There are very few people,
Yes.
women for that matter, representing, and perhaps looking next to you, it could be a bit lonely. So when you reload the clock and look back at how this all started, what would have sparked that interest for you? How did this all begin?
So I've always liked cars that are fast.
Okay.
I've never been into like F1 or followed F1.
Okay.
And also women not being in the sports, I couldn't relate. Like I was just like, it's fast, but learning the car itself, I was just like, that's too much for me.
Yeah.
I went to my first car event 2023, and that's when I started like seeing people of color, and I was like, oh, there's people of color here. Let me ask questions.
Yes.
Then I asked, and a few months later, they invited me while they were doing a test for their cars. I got into the car and I was like, oh, this feels nice. Like, this is where I want to be. And I never looked back. And from there, I had to sit down with my parents and just talk about the financial part, because I had to change careers, and just the financial part is the strain of it all. It took us, I think, 9 months to decide, because sponsors, also there's not a lot of sponsors for women in sports. And Invest came, then did have a conversation with my mom, and they decided on a structure to sponsor me to be able to drive. And that's how it happened.
All right. And perhaps, as you mentioned, it is a costly affair. And so looking at how more people can come on board to support this beyond even you, there's other people that want to get involved and benefit from this. So as you're speaking, your eyes are lighting up. And this is how you know you found your thing.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that with us, because that's what we need. We need people who come alive. And I wonder if we're looking at even this past weekend, the Extreme Festival that happened, that you participated in. I mean, what is that all about? What did you do? How did you fare? Those who don't really understand that sporting.
Okay, so I drive an MSA4 car.
MSA4 car.
Yes, the build is more like a Formula 4 car.
Okay.
So they're still new cars, so we were really trying to do the first race, but unfortunately we couldn't, so we just ended up doing a demonstration.
Okay.
So in our team, it's 14 of us, and there's 3 girls, including myself.
Okay.
The 2 girls have never been in the cars before. They've been doing karting, and yeah, the rest are guys. So,
you were representing.
Yes.
So that need for speed obviously came through this weekend, and there were lots of people. What was that experience like? And we're speaking about support. I mean, beyond the fans that come out, beyond your family, that's also been part of the sacrifices. What more do you think could be done? So government obviously playing its part. We saw some sentiments echoed by the minister. He's quite excited. Lewis Hamilton, he's also excited about bringing Formula 1 here. So what does that mean also for you as you develop, knowing that there is more, that more is possible, and you can represent us on a global stage as well as you grow?
I think as a woman who just recently got into motoring, we just need to bring awareness that it can happen. And we need more sponsors to get on board with the investors that are part of the car racing motoring, because the financial part of it, to be honest with you, is one where we need to really get solutions and get people on board to be able to have more women to come and experience what I'm currently experiencing. And not all of us have the privilege to start from the age of 4 with karting, like myself. I only started with karting last year, and I was only able to start after like 2 months to get into the cars. So it does require a lot of funds, and without funds, there's no way motoring for females can actually be a thing in South Africa.
You've taken on a mammoth task of being one of the first to pioneer this. So thank you for your leadership and bravery as well on that front. You're speaking about prepping beyond the financial costs. What work goes into race day? Actually, leading up before race day. Walk us through what that routine looks like.
A lot of karting.
Okay.
You have to do sim drive
Yes.
for most of the tracks, especially if you haven't been on the track like myself with Kyalami. I was doing a lot of sim drive.
How many hours do you clock?
To be honest, like 5 hours. You just sit and try and figure every corner, but it doesn't feel real until you're there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And then you have to figure out how to drive the lines and everything. But we have a good team. And the guys that we race with are also very helpful to make us understand what we should be feeling, where we should be stopping and things like that. And there's practice.
Practice makes perfect. It's a 10,000-hour rule, right? What about the car fitting? And everything that goes into that, I don't think I understand everything. That's technical. Technicality is on another level. Tell us a little bit more about what you learned on that front.
So with that, we have to do like car seats.
Yes.
We have to make sure our pedals, so because women are not as tall as men, our feet are not the same. They have to adjust the pedals. They have to add things just to make sure that we're not straining our feet when we're changing pedals, and just everything when it comes to making sure that you're comfortable in the car and that your seat is fine. It's a lot of learning.
And now science also comes into the fray, because gravity obviously takes its toll on your body. So fitness is something I know you have to have, because that core strength and the strength in your body is what's going to help you, especially when there's that inertia. I definitely learned that from Formula One. But tell us a little bit more about the science of that as well, and that preparation.
Okay, so at the beginning, I didn't think you need to be that fit for it. But trust me, your core is everything. So you do have to change your lifestyle in terms of like what you eat, because you can't gain weight and lose weight. As it is, I think for women racing with men, we're always going to be underweight, just because it just body-wise it will never match. So try and maintain the weights that you had making your seats. Because there's no time to be making seats and adjusting and prepping for that. And then you have to gym, you have to work out, you have to do a lot of karting for endurance. Your hands get tired and sore.
Ooh, and cramps. And I mean, just that physical jolt.
Yeah, and you take a lot of strain, like your upper body takes a lot of strain. I had to do a lot of chiropractor sessions just to recover from strains from karting, because there's no protecting of any sorts, like you just all over the place.
No, I can imagine. And then rest must also be very important. It's an important component beyond the diet and some of the other elements. To date, what's been your fastest time that you've clocked?
Depends on which track.
Okay, explain. And then what's been a favorite?
For now, to be honest, it's Swartkops, but that's because I train a lot there.
Okay.
And Kyalami was fun. It's a very, very fun track to be on.
Is it challenging?
It is challenging.
In what sense?
Normally, like with most of the corners, you can see where you're supposed to apex and start like speeding, but with Kyalami you just have to guess, okay, this is where I'm supposed to stop, this is where I'm supposed to apex, because it curves, you don't see the curve sometimes, and it's just a roller coaster. To be honest.
Look, Simphiwe, thank you for flying the flag and being part of this discussion, representing women and girls at large. What's that call to action as we wrap up? Just very quickly, how do people contact you? How can they follow your story?
Okay, so I am on Instagram and TikTok as Simphiwe M on TikTok and The Royal Snob on Instagram. All
right, Simphiwe this morning, athlete Simphiwe Mohlahlo, a woman in motorsport. She participated in the 2 Formula Libre events this year, where she won first place in a class. We're wishing her all the best as she continues on her endeavors, also flying the flag high for South Africa.